Okay, so for the sweater, the yarn that I'm using is this from the brand I Love This Yarn, and it's in the shade The Struggle Is Teal. Cute. I'm also using this yarn from the Yarn Bee, the Authentic Hand Dyed in Ocean Ripple. I think it's really pretty, these two colors together. You're gonna need a lot of this yarn though, because we're gonna be doubling up to make it a super thick sweater. So I already took the liberty of separating the yellow and the orange from the blue, and we're just gonna crochet with this and keep tying the ends together until we get the width of cuff that we need. So we're gonna start off by making the sleeves first. So I already have one of the cuffs made, but basically what we're going to do is we're going to need a 4mm sized hook, and I did it all in the brown shade, in the brown, not the brown, the orange and the yellow shades. I'm gonna make my cuff 3 inches long, so I'm going to chain up 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Chained up 15. I'm not going to insert in this hole, I'm going to insert into the one right next to it. And we're just going to make a single crochet. So insert your hook, yarn over, pick up one, yarn over again, and go through both of the loops. You're just going to keep going until you get to the end of your chain. And we're at the last one. Mine is twisting a little bit, but it'll be okay. So we're just gonna chain up one, flip our work, and we're going to insert our hook, not right here, but right here in the back loop specifically, so that we can get that nice ribbing. We're just gonna go into that back loop and do that for every stitch, just a simple single crochet. Make sure you're counting your stitches so that you make sure you have 14 altogether. Okay, we just got done with our first row. Now I'm just going to continue until the cuff can completely go over my wrist comfortably and slide in and out. So you're just going to make the cuff however long you would like. I'm making mine into an extra small, so my cuff is going to be about 6.5 inches long. That could be more or less for you. But yeah, we're just going to continue that. Okay, so once you get done with making your cuff the length that you need it to be, you're just going to cut, feed your loop through, and end it off like that. So this is the part where we're going to switch our hook sizes. We're going to switch to a 5mm hook. We're going to grab the golden yarn that we were working with, and we're just going to make a slip knot with both of those strands. Insert our hook. Now you can go on either end, it does not matter. And I'm just going to insert my hook at the very end. Yarn over and pull through everything. Chain up 3. And next we're just going to put a double crochet and space them out so that they're not all super bunched up, but far apart enough. So we're just going to yarn over our hook, insert it somewhere into the side. We're going to yarn over and pick up, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over again, pull through 2, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert our hook, pick up, pull through 2, pull through 2. Yarn over, and see, I'm just spacing them out like so. However many double crochets you insert into your cuff, you make sure you count them so that you can do the same amount for the other sleeve. That way your sleeves are matching. Okay, so I ended up filling my cuff with 26 double crochets, and I am also including the chain 3 as a row. So now we're just going to chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, flip our work, and we're going to be doing a puff stitch. So we're just going to yarn over. I'm inserting my hook in between our last double crochet and the next. We're going to yarn over, pull up until it's the length of your chain 3, yarn over again, pull up until it's the length of your chain 3. We're going to yarn over and pull through everything, chain up 1, yarn over, and we're going to do the same thing into that hole, yarn over until it's the length of everything, do it twice, pull through, and we're going to basically be sticking with this stitch for the rest of our project. Now I'm skipping one just so that the puffs aren't super close together either, so I'm going to be putting 2 together, skip 1, 2 together, skip 1, and that's how I'm going to do it. So I'm not going into the stitch, I'm going right here, yarn over, pull up until it's the length of everything else, do it twice, yarn over, chain up 1, go right next to that stitch, chain up 1. We're going to skip this stitch and go into the next one. Yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull up, pull through everything and chain 1. Go right next to that one. Yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull up, chain through everything, and chain up 1. We're going to skip this one and go into the next one. And we're going to do this until we get to the end. Okay, so we're at the last stitch, and we're just going to make that into a puff stitch too. I ended up being able to skip this one and going into this one. So I'm just going to yarn over, insert my last stitch there, yarn over, pull up twice, go through everything, and chain up 1. So now we're going to chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, flip our work. If you wanted your sleeve to be baggier, you could definitely go into every single stitch, but I'm not going to do that today, so feel free to do that if you would like. So this is our second row, and we're going to be inserting our hook on top of the puff stitches that we did. So not here, but on top of the puff stitch. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through everything, and chain up 1. And now we're going to just continue that throughout the rows. Inserting your hook on top of the puff stitch. And I'm trying to make sure that my stitches aren't too tight doing this, and making sure you pull up the yarn high enough. Alrighty, so I continued making my sleeve for 15 rows altogether, 15 of the puff stitches all together, and this is just where my elbow sits. So if you're, I'm just crocheting until I get to my elbow. So now I'm just gonna chain up 3 again, and I'm gonna increase. So instead of not putting a stitch here, I'm going to put a puff stitch here. So pull up 2, yarn over, pull through everything, yarn over and pull through 1. And I'm just going to continue doing this until I get to the end of the row. Okay, so I'm at the end of my row, and instead of yarning over, chaining up once, and slipping through everything, we're just gonna make this last stitch into a puff stitch, and then we're gonna yarn over, place your hook inside the same stitch, pull up 1, yarn over and pull through everything, chain up 3, flip your work, and we're just gonna continue with our puff stitches inside of every puff stitch. So that's the new one we created. Just insert, pull up 2, 1, 2, yarn over, pull through everything, and loop up 1. And we're just going to continue this throughout the entire sweater. We'll see how many rows we get to. Okay, so I just completed the sleeves. I ended up doing 29 rows altogether. 29 puff stitches altogether. So I'm just gonna snip the end. And pull all the strings through all the loops. Body, this is how we're gonna do it. So we're just gonna take 2 strands of the gold and orange yarn, make a slip knot. And this is our 4.25 millimeter hook, and we're just gonna chain up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're gonna insert a single crochet right there. And insert a single crochet all throughout the row. So now we're just going to chain up 1, and we're just going to go into the back loops. If you want to do your waist measurement, measure around where you want the sweater to stop. And I got 24 inches, so I just folded that in half. And I got 12 inches, and you want your waistband to stretch to whatever that half measurement is. So now we're just going to go into the back loops and make another ribbing. But this one's just shorter. You can make the waistband as long, as thick as you want, or as thin as you like. I want mine to be this thin. And you're just going to continue until your waistband, your sweatshirt band, I don't even know what it's called, your ribbing stretches to wherever that your half measurement is for your waist. Okay, so I just finished my strip and I'm measuring this out just to show you guys. And it's 11 inches, but when you stretch it, it definitely goes past that, goes to 12, so I should be good. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna switch your hook. You're gonna go to your 5mm hook. Chain up 3. I think I already had one chained. Alrighty, so at this point you can put as many double crochets along your ribbing as you want. The more, the bigger the sweatshirt's going to be. I'm just gonna insert them kind of anywhere along. You can put as many or as little stitches as you want. And I'll be back with the correct number at the end. Okay, so I completed inserting double crochets along the ribbing, and I got 48 double crochets all together, and that is including our chain 3 from the beginning. So now we're just gonna chain up 3, flip our work, and we're going to be inserting a puff stitch in between every single double crochet. So we're gonna go in between right here and right here. We're gonna pick up until it's the length of the chain 3, pick up again, yarn over and pull through everything, and we're just gonna repeat this pattern in between every single stitch. I'm going to show you guys how I've been tying the ends back together. So I'm just taking the end that's almost done and a new end. I'm just putting them together and placing my thumb on top. Grab one of the ends, you wrap it around your thumb twice. Next you're going to bend this bit over and place the yarn you wrapped your thumb with over. Lift those back up and put the one you were wrapping with behind. Next you're going to take your thumb out and you're just going to slide those little ends in the hole. You're going to grab everything, including the yarn that's running out, and you're just going to pull. You might have to help it and make sure it's covering everything. Pull, pull, pull. And you can get really good at this to where you don't have a little tuft at the end, but I do, so I'm just going to use my scissors and cut that. And that's how I've been attaching the ends this entire time. So we're just going to go back to making our puff stitch in between every single double crochet. Okay, so I'm at the end and I just did all of these puff stitches. So I'm just going to yarn over and I'm going to be inserting my hook right here. I'll pick up one, yarn over and pull through everything. Chain up 3, gonna chain up 3, and now I'm just gonna insert a puff stitch on top of all the ones we just did. And you're gonna keep on going until you get it to the length that you want it. it should be from your armpit down on how long you want it. I'll sit here and I'll come back with how many rows I ended up doing for this sweater. So I am on my last row. I ended up doing 12 rows, 12 rows of puff stitches all in total. Okay, so now we're getting towards the end of our 12 rows, and this is the last stitch. I'm just going to pull up one, slip through everything. Now I'm just going to cut the thread, yarn over and pull through. And then take our yarn again, all 3 strands, and we're just going to make another slip knot. We're going to still use our same 5mm hook, and we're just going to count about 9 or 8 stitches. We're going to count our chain 3, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm just going to insert my hook on top of the 9th puff stitch. We're going to yarn over and just pull through everything. We're going to chain up 3. We're just going to keep making our puff stitches. We needed to make a notch for our armhole. And now I'm going to continue until I get to the other side. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to count the first stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And this is where we'll stop. Okay, so I'm on the other side now. I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's our 9th stitch, so we'll just insert our last puff stitch in here. And from here, we're just going to chain up 3. And we're just going to keep going back and forth on our new ledge that we created. Okay, so I ended up doing 5 rows in total. We're on the last row right now. And you can make this part as high as you want as well. I'm just deciding to do 5 rows. Alrighty, and from here I'm just going to loop up to finish that row off, and I'm just going to slide my yarn through. You want to cut it. I might use this long tail to sew everything up. So yours should look something like this. It has this nice little width for the shoulder. So next what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to take the fabric and kind of make some pleats to it. So I'm specifically wanting to make this a little bit shorter because I noticed it was a bit too long for my shoulder sleeve. So I'm just taking where this starts and I'm basically just tying a knot. I'm also doing it to the bottom. So wherever I pinch up here or down here, I'm gonna do the same for the top. And I'm just tying it off. I'm doing that to both sides. And I'm gonna put about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pleats in. What I did is I took this stitch and I put them together. And I'm gonna tie the 2 stitches I put together. Or I'm gonna just make a slip knot with my yarn. Slip my 5mm hook through. Go in between it like that. Slip through, yarn over and slip through everything. Chain up 1. And we're just gonna do a single crochet over it. We'll do a couple of them. Just do a couple of those single crochets, and I'm just gonna snip this off and feed it through like this. I'm just gonna put the ends and pull them towards whichever side you want to be the back. And it should look like that. And I'm just gonna continue doing that to all the pleats. Alrighty, so for the top, I'm leaving 2 stitches up here, and I'm just gonna sew together these 2. So I'm going under like this. Yarn over, pull through all of them. Chain up 1. Just make sure you go under these 2. And however you do it really doesn't matter. I'm not even counting how many single crochets I'm actually doing. And you can kind of slide them down so that they kind of cover the whole stitch. Snip, yarn over and pull through. See, just slide them down kind of. Put the ends towards the back because we'll sew that together later. And it should look something like that. So I'm gonna just show you real quick how I did the pleat. So I have 1 in the middle, and I just use the 2 on the side and squish them together. Put your fingers through the holes. And that's the one I'm going to do. Slip knot. And all I'm doing is I'm just inserting my hook on one side, going under like that. Okay, now that we finished the top, we can move on to the bottom. And it'll be the same thing for both sweaters. You can just put the other half on top of this one and match up the pleats if you want it to be like that. You can honestly pleat this however you want. This is just how I decided to do it. Okay, so now I finished sewing all the pleats in and kind of tucking all the ends to the back. So she looks something like this. I have this tied off still at the top for the neckline. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start sewing the sleeve to the body of the sweater. So this is the armpit area. We're just going to take the sleeve and fold our sleeve in half. We're going to match up the stitches together. This is how I do it, just to find the middle. And then this is the middle, which works out perfectly. So we're gonna match up the middle to the corner of one of the sides, and we're just gonna pin it. This just is how I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna match up the corners. And this is why I had to make it a little bit smaller in the armpit area, because it wasn't fitting. So we're just going to match up where we had sewn it. I like to match up the ends first. Now that that's going on, I'm just going to match up the middle for the armpit right here. There we go. Okay, so you should have one side looking like this and a bit left for the other side. So we're just gonna flip all of this. Alrighty, so this should be your good side. And you're gonna grab your other panel and you're gonna make sure the ugly side is facing you. So both good sides should be facing each other. The ugly side should be facing you. And we're just going to continue to pin the sleeve onto the sweater. So your sleeve should look something like this, where you still have the good sides are looking good inside. Now all you're gonna do next is, so you're just gonna sew along the body, down the armpit, all the way down to the cuff. You'll sew that, and you'll sew where we had just pinned everything. So you're gonna do this exact same thing onto the other side as well, and I'll meet you back here once it's all sewn up. Okay, so I just completed sewing down the armpit, connecting to the sweater and down the arms. Now what I'm going to do is kind of create a shoulder. So the arms are attached and I'm at the top again, and I'm just matching up each side with a stitch. So here's one, there's one, there's one, there's one. You're gonna want to try this on and see how many you're gonna need to stitch together. This is where I have mine, and I'm just going to now sew this gap together. You're gonna do the exact same thing on the other side as well. Sew that down. Alrighty, so I just finished sewing that little shoulder bit, and now it's all good. I still have the top tied with just some other string or other yarn, and this is, I just have it tied where the pleats are, and this is gonna be how I'm making the neckline. So you can have this as tight or as loose as you want. It's whatever you want the neckline to be. So you gotta try it on to make sure you like it. So we're just gonna take our yarn mix, make a slip knot. The last clip of me finishing the neckline was deleted, so essentially what I did was I decided which side I want it to be the front and which one I want it to be the back. This is my front, and I wanted the pleats to be like thicker here, so I just folded them in half. That's where we connected them, but what I did was this is where we connected everything together, and I'm just going on top and basically connecting the two that are behind it. And I just took some yarn and I literally just tied a knot right here, a double knot. And I did that for the rest of them. That's where we did all of our single crochets to attach. Sorry, there's loose ends everywhere. You're gonna take the ones that are behind it and tie them together with a knot. And I did 3 pleats. You can do as many or as little or none as you want. I just noticed that the neck hole is super huge and I'm not really looking for like an oversized look. So these big pleats are my front. And you can try this on and you can pin the pleats where you want it to stay. You can play around with this. So I'm just gonna go into the area where we had sewn our shoulder together. Right in the area where we sewed it. And I'm just gonna go around where my front is. So I'm just gonna yarn over and pull through everything and chain up 3. And now I'm just gonna insert a puff stitch into all of my stitches, and I'm at my first pleat. So what we're gonna do, since it's like folded in half and there's like a bit of a gap for me, I'm just gonna go around the first side. So imagine if this wasn't sewn together, you would just continue as normal. I'm gonna go around this side and try to go into every single puff stitch. So I'm gonna go here. And I'm gonna go right there. You're basically just kind of filling in the gaps. Yeah, what you're doing is basically filling in the gaps. I'm gonna put one at the tip. Okay, now that we have that side, we're gonna do this side of the pleat. So we're just going to continue. Alrighty, so now that we're getting close to where the tie is, we're going to insert a double crochet right here. Or not a double crochet, a puff stitch. And now to keep this shape that I have going on, I'm just gonna basically put the 2 pleats together. And I'm going to insert a double crochet where that fold is. This is like the middle of that fold. I'm gonna insert my next puff stitch right next to the center. So when you fold it in half, this will be the middle. I'm gonna insert my hook right here and make a puff stitch. And see, that way it holds the structure in the shape of the pleat a lot more. And now I'm basically going to continue. So I'm going to go on that first side. And now you're on like the second side. You can insert your last puff stitch somewhere right here. Now we're gonna fold it, and wherever the middle is, even if there's no puff stitch there, you'll just go to the next one. So we're just gonna go into the next space. So this is the middle, we're just gonna go into this space. And now we're going to continue and insert on one of the little pleats sides. And now you have your other side of the pleat. And you can basically insert these puff stitches kind of anywhere. Whatever feels correct, then do it. If you don't feel like a puff stitch should go here, it would be too close and bunch it up too much, then don't do it. So I'm just gonna insert mine right here. And now I've finished the first side, or the front side that I want it to be the front side. And these are how my pleats look. They're different sizes, but I kind of like that. It's a vibe. You can make them bigger or smaller or the exact same size as you want. Just make sure if you want to make all the pleats the exact same length, make sure you're counting your stitches and inserting your hook in like the correct places. I like this little organic feel that it has going on. So now I'm at the shoulder. And I'm basically going to be doing the exact same thing when I get to the part where we had sewed our shoulder seam. It's a little loose. I'm going to make it a little tighter and just... This is where you get to really just play with the sweater and see how you would like it to fit and just have fun with it. No pressure. So I'm just going to fold it in half one more time. Like I said, you can make it as short as you want or as long as you would like. I'm going to fold it in half, and I want this will be the middle, so I'll just go right next to it. And now I'll just continue. See how it's like kind of loose from just the way it's stitched. I'm just gonna kind of attach it back to the side it needs to be while doing a puff stitch. I feel like the sweater's pretty forgiving. The loops are very loose, so you don't have to be too scared of potentially messing up too bad. So now I'm on the back side, and I still feel as though my neck hole is maybe a little too big. So the back we're gonna do just slightly different than we did the front. I'm at my first pleat, and I haven't started it yet. I'm at the shoulder part, right where we had sewn our little shoulder piece from earlier. So now I'm just gonna take my first pleat, and I have more pleats in the back for whatever reason. And I'm just gonna take the two pleats that are next to each other and just kind of put them together. Mainly you really want the second pleat up here. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna yarn over and you're gonna insert your hook right there, and you're gonna insert it through this pleat. You can insert it through where the tip is of the pleat. Yarn over again and pull through, and you're just gonna make this into a puff stitch. And now you're just gonna continue the front portion of the panel, or not the panel, the front portion of your pleat. So you can insert it right there where we had sewn it earlier. We're at the tip of our pleat. And now we're on the other side of the pleat. So we're just going to continue. Okay, so we just finished our back portion of our pleat, and we're right back where we had attached the two sides together. We're at our next pleat set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook, grab a pleat, and we're gonna do that accordion. So here's one, you're gonna insert your hook into this one. Yarn over and make another puff stitch. And now we're gonna go and do our first side of our pleat. And now the back side of our pleat. So see, you have this nice shape going. If this is too confusing, by all means, you can continue doing what you were doing with the front side. I just wanted to do this different technique just to see how it was gonna be. So I'm almost done with the back portion of this pleat. So now we're back to it. We're gonna take this one and this one, and like an accordion, we're going to go into this one right here. So we're gonna yarn over, insert, and then insert our hook again into this one. Yarn over everything and make a puff stitch. Now we can continue with the front portion of the pleat. And now we're doing the back portion of our panel, or our pleat. And see, it's made my neck hole so much smaller, and it's keeping the shape of the pleats that we had made. So I have my last pleat, and I'm just gonna insert my hook here. And remember, like an accordion, we're just gonna take this, and since this is the last one, I'm just gonna like make a space up right here. Kind of fold it in half. And make one up. And do the same thing, insert your hook on the other side. And make a puff stitch. And now, like we've been doing, we're gonna go and finish the front portion of the pleat. And now we're doing the back portion of our pleat. Chain up one, and we're at the end, so I'm just going to slip stitch everything through our chain 3, and we're done. You can try this on and keep messing with the neckline if you would like, but this is essentially it. If you would like more approximations for bigger sizes, I'm gonna have a pattern for sale linked in my bio on my website. But this is it. All you'll do from here is sew and tuck the ends in, and you'll be complete. Thank you for watching.